Hello and welcome, Diana. My name is Dr. Connie Lauer, and I'm a faculty member in the Academic Engagement Center. I will be the host of this session on integrating high-impact practices into UAGC honors programs. I am joined in hosting this session today by Gigi Dorsett, who is serving as the tech specialist. By joining us today, you acknowledge that this session is being recorded and will be shared with TLC-related materials. Microphones will be muted for the first part of this presentation, but we encourage you to post questions and comments in the chat. Also, we have enabled live transcription. If you would like to use it, click the live transcription button at the bottom of your Zoom window. Now I'm pleased to introduce you to Dr. Clifford Lazard, a lead faculty member in the Academic Engagement Center, who teaches frequently in the UAGC Honors Program. Dr. Mingjian Bao, an associate director in the Academic Engagement Center who coordinates and teaches in the UAGC Honors Program, and Dr. Yvonne Lozano, who chairs the Department of Health Sciences in the College of Arts and Sciences and provided essential guidance in designing the UAGC Honors Learning Community. So now I'll turn it over to Dr. Lazard.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for a discussion on high impact practices and how it is implemented in the honors program. You have probably heard the term high impact practices or HIPs by now through multiple internal and external PD opportunities. HIPs are student active learning practices that have been widely tested to increase student retention and student engagement. So there are 11 HIPs listed on the screen, and the two we will focus on learning communities and service learning. The key objectives for learning communities are to encourage integration of learning across courses and to involve students with big questions that matter beyond the classroom. Students in one program work closely with one another and with the professors. Many learning communities explore a common topic and common readings through the lenses of different disciplines. Learning communities sometimes feature service learning. The idea to integrate service learning in the honors curriculum is to give students direct experience with issues they are studying in the courses and with ongoing efforts to analyze and solve problems in the community. Students have the opportunity to both apply what they're learning in real life setting and reflect in a classroom setting on their service experiences. The entire program models the idea that giving something back to the community is an important learning outcome, and that working with community partners is good preparation for citizenship, work, and life. The HIPs share some key elements: interactions with faculty and peers about substantive matters, significant investment of time and effort by students over an extended period of time, which is very challenging for our student population, experiences with diversity, where students are exposed to people and circumstances that differ from those with which students are familiar. And finally, opportunities to discover relevance of learning through real-world applications. The tricky part is that these practices take many different forms depending on student characteristics, institutional priorities, and contexts. Dr. Koo talked about bundling effective practices to ensure quality in learning and teaching at the CAS Q2 colloquium. Today, Clifford, Yvonne, and I will continue to discuss learning communities and service learning in relation to the honors program attributes. So the new honors program was launched July this year. Prior to that, 300 students were enrolled in the honors college. UAGC had more than 6,000 students fulfill the honors college application requirement. However, less than 6% were enrolled in the college. So this reconfiguration prepared the honors program for innovation and growth by coordinating institutional resources and activities. The Honors Advisory Board was formed with full-time faculty members from each of the academic departments in Cass and Forbes. The board met monthly and crafted the 2021 strategic plan. Our goals are to cultivate meaningful and engaging learning, enhance students' sense of belonging, and improve student success measures. Our students have been trying very, very hard to be outstanding in their learning, and life hits them the same way with temporary challenges that we as a team can support. The honors program vision is to challenge and empower highly motivated undergraduate scholars to become global community leaders. We do so by engaging the students in educational opportunities that promote leadership, innovation, global perspective, and civic responsibility. The advisory board reviewed and consolidated the curriculum to retain 3 honors courses in line with the honors mission and incorporate service learning in the curriculum as a high-impact practice. Essential to the revised honors student experience is a virtual home base, an honors virtual learning community in Canvas, where students are able to interact with each other while also having access to all materials necessary for success in the program. This learning community brings together under one roof highly motivated students passionate about learning and create a common identity for UAGC honor students. It enables honor students to network across academic disciplines and academic levels, as well as facilitating faculty mentoring. The idea of program-level learning communities was first conceptualized and piloted in the Department of Health Sciences, and I'll hand it over to Yvonne to talk more about that.
Thank you, Meng-Sing. As Meng-Sing mentioned, one of the components of HIPS is the learning community. Of course, we know and have heard much about learning communities in brick and mortar universities, but the challenge at UAGC in development and consideration has been the virtual learning community. So it's an exciting opportunity for us to be able to actively produce and develop and engage the learning community for students in the honors program. As we know, it is a shared learning is some of the basic underlying concepts of it. It's not only trying to help the student gain a connection to the faculty, to the university in which they attend, and to their academic learning, but also to one another. And not just students that are in their class, students that are taking other classes, students that they maybe have taken classes that are ahead of them. The most important, according to the world of Yvonne, but the most concept of learning communities is that connection. It's also very difficult to create this sense of connection in a virtual learning environment. There are many different great theories and ideas for faculty to use to be able to create this connection. But somehow it almost is, if you can just sit back for a moment and begin to imagine when you first walked into a university, at least a brick and mortar university, but you might have been an online university. So you walk onto the campus and you see all the big buildings, you see all the students, you see a mixture of staff and faculty. You find out where where financial aid is, where the student center might be. And so you start to get a sense of where you want, what you want to be a part of and where you want to engage and who you want to connect with. There's clubs and groups. And then when you go into most importantly, what you're most interested in, well, at least we want to say we are, is most people want to go to the student union building, but you also have some interest in your major and seeing other people that are also interested in your major, no matter what that might be, whether it's health sciences, whether it's English, whether it's history or psychology. So you're looking for that connection with others to see what they're doing, what they're talking about, what they're learning, what it's like to be there. And it's important to be able to recognize that not only do the students begin to feel that connection, begin to exhibit some positive associations to that in the classroom. They want to do better. They want to connect with other students and they want each other to do better. They feel this sense of connection to something that's what they thought they could never, ever touch or be a part of. And so I think it's important to recognize the positive impact that this can have on student success and learning. And in developing the program, the honors program and looking at learning communities, there are a set of students that go into the room. They're able to not only talk about one of their courses, like they would maybe in Canvas, but they're talking about more than one of their courses. They have several courses in which they can communicate, which they can ask specific questions about. They start to recognize other students' names that are in their class. And so they feel a strong sense of not only that connection, but then it also improves their engagement. We have a lot more to learn about what the virtual learning community is going to look like. And we're working on some projects right now to make that happen at UAGC. But what we do know with certainty, as was true in the Department of Health Sciences, is that the active community that we see in both the honors program and that we see in health sciences, the students do feel a strong sense, not only of connection, but we see that with students as they not only begin to kind of what we call they hit enter so that they can go to find out not only what's going on in their classrooms, but maybe what's going on in their professional associations, maybe what's going on with conferences, ways that they can connect as students with the professional associations, to see what's happening with careers, to see what's happening, not only that, but what's happening maybe within just the university. So this idea here is no longer just an idea or a concept, but we're seeing it happening in the honors programs. We see a collaborative learning. We see the interactive engagement with the students, and we look forward to being able to look to see the positive impact that this has. So thank you for that. Clifford or Maxine?
Thank you so much, Yvonne, for that. If we could go on to the next, thank you. So I'd like to speak a bit today on the practice aspects of both of these HIPs as they currently exist within the honors program. And I'm going to begin with the honors learning community. We've described, Yvonne in particular, has presented a beautiful vision for what it can be. So the practical reality is it's also very much a work in progress. As of July 1st, we have an active Canvas classroom space where there are places for conversation. There's a meet and greet area. There's also an area for more academic conversations around honors topics. In terms of news and upcoming events, there are regular announcements that I'll post in the learning community, and then there's an upcoming events page as well, which includes a link where students can submit a Qualtrics form to receive credit for attending various presentations as part of a co-curricular expectation that's included in the new honors program. There's also information there about the honors program. There's a page about meeting the faculty, and there's also files and forms that students might need. Finally, there's a page of Twitter feeds from various academic organizations related to the 4 pillars of the honors program. So actually in practice, as of this morning, actually that number has changed. 28 students have gone into the honors learning community and posted introductions since it was set up. And there have been quite a few announcements that I've posted about various events and opportunities. And we are working on adding links to the honors community as a vital, visible part of all 3 of the honors courses as the courses are revised. So there's now a link and invitation in Honors 270, and that will be added to the other 2 courses within the next year or so. Our ongoing challenge, though, is to get to what Yvonne's described, to enhance the value of the learning community so that it's really relevant and vibrant. And I think if I could encapsulate that in just a simple vignette, I would say that today when I went in and discovered another student had posted their bio, the student also posted in the more academic area of the learning community and commented briefly on who she was and said, she's looking forward to posting there. And I'm thinking that really does capture what we're hoping. We're hoping to see that as more students join the honors program. Of course, when we initially began, it was mostly the honors college, but as they come in from the honors program with this additional co-curricular requirement, and as there are links added to the classes, that the students will be more eager to come in and share thoughts about talks they've attended, ideas from classes, etc. This is a challenge because this is an entirely optional space. But I can say right now that already from the students that have posted their bios there, it's working to create a sense of home for students who are in the honors program for maybe a year, maybe 2 years, but only in honors courses for 15 weeks of that time. So it really does provide a vital sense of continuity for the students. Next slide. And now I'll speak briefly about the service learning aspect. And really there are two kinds of service learning in the university context. One is called transformational, which I admit sounds very enticing. It's also a kind that requires a lot of time. Most transformational service learning experiences span 10 weeks or more and involve a deep engagement between a student and a particular organization. There's also transactional service learning, which is a much shorter duration, where students might complete a brief task or tasks to benefit others. And that's really what we're focused on here in the honors program at UAGC. The idea here, among others, and Ming-Jen provided a great philosophical background to service learning, but I want to add this idea of empowering students to transition from learning, which is really kind of what most classes university level are really focused on, obviously gaining skills and abilities, understanding for application in a career and life, to actually putting that into practice, to doing, to giving something back to their communities, to the world. So right now in Honors 270, students use critical thinking to tackle a wicked problem such as global climate change or homelessness, and then identify actions they might take to solve it. And actually my students right now are doing that. We're in week 3 of the course, and the students are posting in a discussion their ideas for what actions they might take. And then they're going to be responding to each other with recommendations, suggestions, etc., and then using those to develop a brief proposal for what they're going to do. And then at the end of the course, they're going to report on their experience, on what they did and how that went. There's a similar kind of project already built into Honors 280, where students identify a particular social political issue that speaks to them. They then decide how they're going to go about taking civic action, and they report on the impact of that action. And our big dream, which I'm excited about, but also welcome ideas about, will be in Honors 490, which is the culminating honors course, the honors seminar. And this upcoming year, I will be working with Dr. Charles Holmes here at UAGC to revise the course to integrate a service learning project directed back toward the honors community itself. In this project, students will create relevant artifacts that would be housed in perpetuity, or at least as long as it exists there, in the honors learning community. This could be in the form of recorded presentations. It could also be databases, web pages, who knows, the sky's the limit. And it would be a gift from the honors students to the honors learning community of the future. And I'm really excited about what that will look like and how that will take shape in the months ahead. Ming-Jen will wrap up with a few culminating thoughts. Thank you so much. Ming-Jen, you're muted.
Thanks, everyone. So as we mentioned here, we are integrating HIPS in the UAGC honors program, particularly to high impact practices, learning communities, and service learning to promote sense of belonging and to foster engagement. For the honors learning community, we have the Canvas space for all honors students, including previous honors college students, and students can meet with each other and obtain event information. For the learning service learning in the honors curriculum, we are revising all 3 honors courses to make sure it's an integral part of the curriculum. So to wrap up today's presentation, I was just wondering if we have any questions from our audience.
Please feel free to post them in chat, or if you can unmute, you're welcome to go ahead and speak as well. We're delighted that you're here, and we welcome any questions you might have.
This is Yvonne. I'd like to just add something I wanted to make mention of in my segment or for this presentation is that one of the projects for the virtual learning communities or learning communities as we move forward, whether we change the name or do something different, this is really exciting to see this initiative in the honors program. And one of the things that we're looking to do in Department of Health Sciences is to create an ongoing and continued template for other programs in the university to be able to start to consider to create their own personalized program community in which students in their programs can start to connect with one another throughout their academic career and early in their academic career as well, not just waiting until they take their first class, but in the first, second, third, fourth classes that they can make that connection. So this, students are, as we all remember, we're all getting really excited about going into college, but we're not really excited so much until we get past some of those classes where we can start to take the meat of what our interest is. And so we're looking forward to that. And I see that Cole McFerrin in here, he's a significant in our development of the learning community for the honors program, but also in the health sciences. So I just want to do a shout out to Cole.
Yes, I would like to thank Cole as well. He was another integral member of our group putting together the honors learning community as it exists now.
Absolutely. Thank you, Cole. And as Yvonne and Clifford mentioned here, this is really just an initial step here at the UAGC to implement some of the HIPs under our institutional context. And then there are still a lot of steps that we need to figure out. For example, how to collect student data and how can we show evidence that by applying those high impact practices, actually we have a positive impact to student learning. And I saw Stacy's question here. Will students also have opportunity to use and post their projects in Folio as well? And I'm not sure if Clifford, you would like to answer that question.
Sure, I'll answer that. That's a great question. Right now in Honors 490, students work with Folio. Actually, in fact, that's the theme right now in Honors 490 as the culminating experience is a focus on one's own self-progress. And ideally, we'd love to retain that. We're going to have to balance that against everything else that has to be accomplished in 5 weeks. But certainly we appreciate that e-portfolios are another wonderful HIP. And in fact, right now they're built into 490. So we'd like to think that they're going to remain viable. That would be hoped. But until we figure out 490 and what it's going to become, they're not currently in the other two classes. They weren't built into either one originally, though. So the answer is ideally yes, but we'll have to stay tuned and see how 490 develops.
Thanks, Clifford. And if I may add here, so the e-portfolio in the honors seminar, the 490 class, is not limited to just course materials or course projects, because many times we have seen like students use e-portfolio as a storage place to save their course projects or assignments. But in the honors seminar, we actually have an assignment that focus more on competencies and skills. So students are being asked to upload their projects based on certain skills that they need to master in that course. Not necessarily the course projects, it could be projects from their major programs so that instructors can work with students even more to really demonstrate that competency or skill in even their major project. Yeah. Thank you, Stacy. Good question.
It's great that the honors program has jumped into utilizing these two components of HIPS, because you are getting the experience and the expertise that will help us decide if we can transfer learning communities and service learning to many of the other courses at the university. So we appreciate all the information, experience, and data you're gathering.
Are there any other questions? We still have a couple of minutes left. We can answer another question or two.
Hi, Clifford. This is Diana. I just had a comment. I just wanted to say that I really love what you guys have done with the honors program. I love the learning communities and the service learning. I mentioned in the chat that my son had gone to a project-based learning high school and service learning, and also doing a internship was built into their curriculum for all students. And it made such a huge difference on how he was learning. He was just one of those kids that had to see the why behind what he was doing. And with COVID, he also learned his freshman year of college that he needed community to learn. He struggled so much in the online setting, being alone and trying to connect with his instructors and with other students. So there's such great value in having that learning community. And I'm just really glad to see that our institution is implementing that, because there's so many institutions that just aren't. That was a struggle for me when I transitioned from brick and mortar to online learning, that I was like, well, how do I make connections, and how do I, find a way to stay engaged with my peers? So kudos to you guys.
Thank you so much. And that really is, we're hoping that by having this community space and such, that honors will become viewed as a community experience, as an opportunity to be part with others in a collaborative enterprise of engaging the world and learning in the 4 pillar areas, which really kind of embrace almost all learning when you look at the 4 pillars that we have. And I'm very hopeful that will happen. And that's such an exciting shift from the earlier model of the college, honors college, which was the previous model, which focused on just 6 classes, and you just go through the classes, check them off, and then get the note on your diploma. This is a lot more about being part of a community, and I'm hopeful that a lot of students will see it that way and be drawn to that, to be to share their thoughts and ideas with others more, and in that kind of, despite being in an online environment.
In the interest of getting you to your next session, we're going to end. So thank you, Dr. Blizzard, Dr. Bao, and Dr. Lozano. And thank you to the audience for your participation in today's session. We encourage you to attend the many presentations and panel discussions that still await during TLC. So enjoy the rest of your conference. Thank you.